hopefully we see a better performance than we did back on Bank, but NAVI are no slouches on this map. There is a really spicy first ban, Tim. We're so used to seeing Maverick on this map for opening up hatches, namely meeting and security, sometimes the lobby one, but normally you'll see the Hibana do that. That being banned away is good, and NAVI look towards what DarkZero were employing a little bit in that last map. It was Canadian on the FLORES. Makes it a lot easier to hold down Elbow, for example, in blue. I think it's just very good to get that off the board. Third ban, gonna be the Wamai. We spoke about him becoming part of the common rotation of bans, seeing things like Valkyrie, Mira, a little bit of Maestro in there too.
Really interested to see if this is Kaid or not from DarkZero. They're the ones that have taken the Maverick.
Well, Thatcher's out, so Thatcher's on the board, sorry.
Okay, so Kaid, as you say, will be dealable. He will be able to be out with the Thatcher. But DarkZero here, I think, leaning into let's have a strong defence. Let's have a strong start here. Let's take Maverick away.
Tim,
make it difficult.
Let's have a strong game. I think is their probably question.
Let's have a strong... Honestly, Des, I don't want to roast them too much, but I think at this point it might be let's have a strong round. Let's just get in there and get a solid job done on the defence to begin with, because they just got absolutely rolled on the Bank defence. There's no other way around it.
It's not like you to go in that hard, Tim.
Well, it's not, but they lost 3-0, Des. They didn't pick up a single defence on Bank. You know, it's just, this is it now. This is it. If you don't win here, you're done. You go home along with 7 others today. You know, this is the time to step up. It's now or never, quite literally. What was I thought something else. You said it out loud, and I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. So we'll park it, and if it comes back to mind, I'll mention it again at some stage. NAVI on the attack here are bringing along that Thatcher that we thought we may well see. Thatcher may getting the hatches opened up when there turns out to be a Kaid, which, unsurprisingly, in this round, there is. Canadian could try and play behind a trick game here if he wants to. He can bounce those Electro Claws back and forth, trying to catch it in between EMPs. The problem is, Sage can chuck a couple of EMPs at a hatch, one after the other, and it will catch any of that attempted tricking. So, because of the slowness of the Kaid Electro Claws, I don't think it's going to be too impactful. Oh, I know what I was going to say. We saw M&M play earlier on today. I said earlier on in the competition, they were really not good at attacking into the basement. They run 2 rounds in a row attacking the basement on Oregon against Oxygen. I was like, oh, they can do it. Let's channel some of that, and NAVI can win a couple of rounds in the basement. Oh, I'm channeling for DarkZero here. I want to see.
Of course you are.
I want to see DarkZero come out and give us a good map here. There's a lot of aggression from NAVI immediately. Look at them getting straight inside a small tower. Pambazu's going to have to be on his toes here as the drones are going to come in. They're likely to find him. NJR's going to dip away and leave him alone for the time being. Pamba drops himself back into kitchen. Mute jammers are in place, which are telling me that DarkZero want to hold on to this area, but right now they're being forced away. Okay, we know he's one of the most aggressive entries when he's got his confidence up, and that's exactly what he's like right now. 40 seconds, he's charging in, drones in front of him, and he's forced DarkZero back.
It's good stuff. I think DZ playing it quite smart too, where they had the kitchen hold, they had the Zulu hold, for example, but just looking to give NAVI an early challenge, get rid of a couple of drones. NAVI so far, very good at retaining them. They've got 9 left alive, meaning they've only lost 1 in this initial push all the way across the kitchen. So a very good push so far, being very efficient on the journey through, and now they can start thinking about these hatches and start thinking about what an execute actually looks like.
Pamba's going to get himself back down to sight. I think that's all 5 now as Doki moves away towards those rear stage stairs. He's going to be aggressive forward. Thank you very much, Sayano. That is indeed all 5. Eclipse is still holding onto those freezer stairs with the shotgun. I like it's a bit. I first saw it in LATAM a couple of years ago. It's one of those really aggressive holds that I like. Get down there at the bottom and just right front up to him and don't let him down the stairs. As this hatch gets opened by Nath on the exothermic, he's likely going to have to dip away because otherwise he will find himself stuck, and that's exactly what happens. He trades places with NJR, who drops back into highway. We're going to have the next attempt here. The claw goes out, won't be successful as the hatch is open, so great work from the Thermite, and that is now going to leave us out in a position where all the hatches have been opened. DarkZero have been squished into a little ball inside of sight.
Oh, you stopped. I was going to say like a snowball. So picking up a big mass of snow and just going mash, 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 mash all together. exactly what they've done here, Tim. As soon as that security hatch gets opened up, and no one likes to drop that hatch normally, you'll just push down the stairs. The whole idea is you force the freezer players out on Eclipse. He full sprinted as soon as he knew that exothermic was going off. So yes, all 5 have been condensed in towards supply here. And Navi, if they've got a good read on this, can get away with a lot. Little of a swing coming in from Blur, doesn't quite find his man, does take a little bit of chip in the process. Pamba down to a slither of HP. A body shot will be enough to see him fall by the wayside here. And in comes the drop from Nath, but he looks the wrong way. Doesn't find Pamba, gets the kill back on the other side. Instead, 2 early kills for DarkZero.
Well played from Pambazoo there. Nice and calm, no panic in the man. As Nath really should have been finding one. Now then, secretly gets something going from the freezer. Use the flashbang as a little distraction. Goes in, Doki 1, saves taken out in the meantime. 2v3, time ticking away. Going to end like that as DarkZero managed to take round 1, and that's what we wanted to see out of the North American side. Much better defensive hold than we saw from them on bank. A lot calmer, and they were, while still forced back to site, there was a point in the middle of the round where they're all very close to each other, and we mentioned it, we were worried, but they spread out, they recognised it, they got somebody over to pillars, got somebody into Shaiko spot, got people where they needed to be, and were able to challenge Navi as they made their final push into site. Better from DarkZero, and they're going to be hopefully showing us more up on the top floor.
Yeah, I think Navi leaving that one a bit late and potentially a little bit mistimed. Like the drop into E-box of Nath got tagged down. Doki wasn't really anywhere in position to make a play off the back of that. Secretly, we're still getting control of Freezer. I think they just panicked in those last 30 seconds, Tim, just thinking we need to start making a move now, and players just kind of got a bit ahead of themselves and started on their way forwards. Never mind though, basement may have been a failure for Navi, but a resounding success for DarkZero, who find their first defensive round win in the series. Now we go up onto the second floor, and the comps change around a little bit. You're seeing this Goyo being brought along by Canadian, who's very much playing this filler role for the team today, rotating through various different operators as needs fit.
He is, as you say, it's, you know, in EU, it's what we see out of Hungary on G2, where it just sort of completely changes up the feel of the lineup, depending which operator they bring along. The rest tend to work around it, and Canadian is that central point here. We're going to have a setup inside of Trophy. Interestingly, opened up on the rear side towards Attic as well. Because it's on the right-hand side, it shouldn't really impact the player in pit. If you play far enough off to the left, they shouldn't be able to get an angle from the single door at the top of Armory Stairs, so they just need to be aware of that though. Stray too far over and you could be asking for trouble.
This is becoming the go-to hold now for this site. That you have the trophy down inside of the shield down inside a trophy, someone inside a pit looking to support. Sometimes you can double it up where you'll also have a shield down inside of pit. I don't think there is one here. It's more just I'll swing and challenge as and when needs fit. Down towards the south side, Navi are getting started on the bedroom. Eclipse finding the opener onto Blur. That's a real kicker, because now they can sit and hold downstairs very freely. You've got Canadian all the way down in basement, Eclipse hanging around security and kitchen. Just no real threat right now to DarkZero, given they've removed the Thinker very early on.
Eclipse has got a Nitro in hand as well, which is an important point to note, so he can't really be ignored by Navi here. They're going to have to try and do something about him, because if they don't, they're likely to find themselves with a little explosive denial under their feet when they try to get the diffuser down, and I think we see from the silhouettes that a couple of Navi players have just dropped down to that lower level, potentially going to be going and looking to clear out Canadian and Eclipse, who are on the underneath still. Canadian just on the top of those laundry stairs, just trying to sneaky wonders. I'm not sure if he's been picked up by Navi or not, but he could have a little surprise for them later on in the round if they don't drone him out.
Absolutely. Saves out towards the east side. Doki inside a trophy, so you have Saves droning him in the front here just to make sure he can push him. So used to seeing that combo. Doki going to swing in, gets NJR for free. What? Nearly finds Hyper as well, but not quite missing out on that one. Pamba gets one back, secretly with another one in the back of sight, but C4 from below. Blur's early death coming back to haunt them. Nath going in deep, looking in for Pamba, but he's on the deck. He finds it for free, and now Saves has got to do it all by himself as 2 DZ players start flooding their way up towards White. He does get the down onto Canadian, but he's being flanked from behind by Pamba, who's just holding on the angle. This should be a freebie. No way does he find it. They've got Eclipse left alive all by himself. Saves has still got a drone out in the field. He's got time here to play behind. I think he must know surely that there is a man playing on White. In comes the run. It's a 1 versus 1. Saves off to one side, knows where the man is. Tries to bait and switch off towards the other. He's got so much time to play with here, but almost loses out. Both down to a bullet of HP, Tim. All it's going to take is a single body shot. Saves coming in from one side, Eclipse holding the angle. There comes the shot, and Saves winning out a big 1v1.
A 1v3, Des, as it finished off. He's just gone Kansan.
it. There's our use of it for the first time. Beautiful, Tim. Absolutely love it. As much as you love saves, again, with a big end of round play. Look back to Bank in that 2 versus 2 in the post plant when I think it was secretly planted for him, and he picked up 2 kills. It flicks around the other way, and this time he does it even without the plant coming down. A massive 1 versus 3. DZ arguably misplaying that one quite a bit, and Eclipse even had the angle ready. Saves just a bit too quick.
Saves did something really smart there, Des. It's difficult in those moments necessarily, I think, but he knew who he was up against, and I think he knew he was up against the shotgun. And there's a point where you notice he was behind the reinforce, he takes a peek to the right and just takes a little shot through the soft wall, doesn't find anything onto Eclipse. But as he's moving to door, I feel like I can sort of hear his thought process. He's moving over towards door, but then he just starts backing away. And he's just creating that distance from him, giving himself the advantage in the gunfight because he's likely up against the shotgun, and he knows that Eclipse is going to expect the close contact on the door, so he's going to stick on the shotgun. Just does that, and it saves his life because Eclipse hits him with a shot that if he's on that doorway, he's down, he's dead. That's it, it's going to finish him. But the distance, I think, the drop-off from the damage on the shotgun just about saves him, and he's able then to engage from a much longer range onto Eclipse around the corner, and it was a beautiful little slow peek from him, to be fair. Beautifully played from Saves. Really, really well done. Nice 1v3. That's going to be one of the players of the day, I think.
You know what kind of scares me thinking about it, Tim? The winner of this game goes on to face Furia in Game 4. Another game we're casting. We just keep on following Furia.
We really do.
And I know many will look at Furia and go, oh, they got 2-0 by TSM, easy. No, it was ridiculously close, the same as it was in the group stage. Like, you can't drive a wedge. You can't drive a wedge between those two teams. That's just how close it is. I would worry for both of these teams how it looks coming into it. NAVI, I would still wager, look the stronger right now and do have a good chance against Furia. But you're against a team that is on the up and up. Of course, they're still going to get through DarkZero for now, or the vice versa. This could be a total change around. I want to touch on Blur playing on the Nook, though, here, Tim. We saw it banned away back on Bank, and he goes, you haven't banned it this time and you want something to worry about? Well, have a Blur in your face. Let's see what he can do on the Nook. Right now, he's playing off on the south side, Repel, joining up with Saves. Doki going to be the opening death.
I picked up on the entry that we saw out of DarkZero on Bank, and I said it was something that they needed to continue because they did very well, +3 overall, and they certainly are continuing so far. They've got all 3 here, but Navi's still able to get around back, get a kill back as Saves continues where he left off, finding the kill onto Eclipse and bringing us back into a 4 versus 4. Navi now, they can just continue pushing forward on this top floor. They've still got at least 1 up there to clear out with them, 2 by the looks of things. Blur finds Canadian, 4 versus 3 advantage Navi at the halfway mark. They're going to have to move Hyper and Pamba though. They can't really look at pushing into sight whilst DarkZero have still got players up on this top floor, and Hyper might just have a nasty little angle here which could surprise them.
They'll drone this out before they go pushing into pit, I imagine. They've got kids being dormed out here. Pamba is, of course, supporting on the top side. Has the support somewhat from below off the smoke canister as he's being pushed up, secretly winning out that fight. That is massive, because they've now forced him out of top floor. Blur going to be detected here as well. So even though he's playing on the sneaky Nook, they'll still have a good idea that he's coming.
Need to push forward and get this kill onto Hyper realistically. NJR and Hyper now both playing pretty close by actually, so there could be an opportunity for them to look at a plant inside a meeting and just try to hold down the angles and prevent these two from moving back in. They've got the drones, 5 of them still on side for Navi, so they should be able to take the time and find where these two are. 30 seconds left to go, plenty of time to rotate around, use new ideas, and then just try to hold them out of whichever area they choose to go for that diffuser. NJR for the time being shutting down a few avenues with smoke canisters. 20 seconds left to go. Blur pushing in here. That's going to be a big kill from Secretly. It leaves Hyper all alone. Nate's getting diffuser down. There's the final one. Navi looking a little bit sharper on attacking the last 2 rounds. Get themselves an advantage here on Oregon.
Yeah, they were a little bit slow in round number 1, but outside of that, being pretty much on fire. The scariest thing is, Tim, every single round so far, all 3 of them, DarkZero have found the entry. This round was a wonderful example of where it all goes wrong. They get the entry. It's 5 versus 4. Fantastic. What happens next? They lose Eclipse and they lose Canadian. two members that realistically don't need to die, especially when the other team members are the ones sat on site anchoring up. You're almost trying to press an advantage a little bit too hard. You saw in round one that NAVI struggle against the clock, that things really start to bite them. So why is it you keep on trying to push for more here when you can pull back and play the 5 versus 4, play for trades on site, and not keep on trying to make these big hero plays? It is costing them here, but at least they now get to return to the site where it did go right for them. Back in round one, I'm looking towards Doki on the Ying though, and Blur playing on the Nook. Those are the two big X-Factor picks for me in this round.
Absolutely. Like you say, that Ying particularly. NAVI they felt like they did need a little bit of something to try and get themselves inside the site last time. It came down to the hatch drop from Nath. He was shut down. It was a bit too easy. Maybe the Ying is going to be that avenue for them. Maybe it's just going to open up and create that space that they need to push in behind. Blur as well, going well on the knock last time around. See if he can maybe sneak his way in to a problem spot without DarkZero being aware of it.
We'll have a quick rehost there, as you may have. Back into game now, though. Down into laundry we go once again. A repeat of the same site. Picks must stay the same. So we'll once again see that Ying being 6 picked in by Doki. We'll see Blur on the Nook. And we'll see what happens on DarkZero's side. A small change around this time, Tim, for them. Pamba's now the one playing on the Kai. Canadian are going across onto the Mute. Probably a bit of a bait and switch because the Kai has been traded out for an Ella. A good read-in, I think, because NAVI will have seen that Kai in the prior round when they were down here in round 1 and go, yep, that's going to be a repeat once again. They'll try and use it better, so may not be expecting Pamba to go charging around on that Ella.
Maybe not, as you say. Also got the good smart mines, which will stun you out if you try to move through them. 3 of them.
It's a good point because for the Nook as well, there's no Melusi on side this time. That was their kind of anti-Nook device that they had set up. Yep. They didn't have one with the Melusi not being there, so this is their step in. It's going to be that Ella.
Right, down we go to the basement then. So last time around we saw this back in round number 1. It was DarkZero's first and only round of a win that they've had so far here on Oregon. It was pretty much down to a very late round drop through electrical and a push down rear stage stairs from NAVI, but DarkZero were more than ready for it, and Nath, he got a little bit unlucky. He burst out of electrical, looked the wrong way and got taken down, and it sort of fell apart from there really. It didn't create the wedge that they wanted to try and work in from behind. Last time around, DarkZero did start with a couple up in kitchen and dining. This time, not quite so aggressive. Hyper is going to be up at the top of rear stage stairs, but they don't have anybody else out in the map at this point.
No. So really I'm looking towards Doki here on that Ying as being the go button, right? It's something I recommend to friends when they get into another game I play. I'll always say, look, just pick this person to play because when you press that button, your team knows to go with you. It's a very similar story here. As soon as those Candelas start springing, as well as the countdown that will no doubt be in comms, you're all aligned on when go time is going to happen. And I think really here, NAVI need that, given how round 1 went. Things just kind of all crumbled. Pamba taking a very early challenge here. Both members, in fact, backing away from Big Tower. Blur taking a little bit of a chip damage there. Nothing much to really scare him away, but enough to remind him that he is mortal. He can fall down with that big 2K in the prior round. But I don't think it'll be a repeat here, at least for now.
Well, the thing is that it's exactly as we said. Just coming in and being that sort of anti-knock device, get the Elamine out there, it just holds him at bay and stops him pushing on and aggressive and creating any sort of surprise. Hyper is going to find himself back down in Shaiko spot. All pretty stock standard for DarkZero at the halfway mark. Eclipse is on elbow. I'm not sure how long he will remain there for whilst he's not being pushed, but it looks like secretly is heading in that direction towards bunker, so he might find a little bit of pressure and attention coming his way in the very near future. Hyper's getting really aggressive here, Des. I love to see it. He can sort of see the knock above the handrail there, but just can't quite find the shots. He's going to dip himself back away, but it's another 15 seconds wasted by the Jaeger.
I feel there's been really good time made by NAVI here. They were very good at the clear last time, and it's a similar story now. The only player they haven't really unsettled is Hyper playing on Shaiko, and Pamba could step up back out of Highway and get himself up towards the north. A great nade coming in. He's punished for being there for too long. Doki, only one Candela comes out before he gets absolutely mown down. Hyper, 2 big kills off towards the side, make it a 3rd as he pulls down onto the head of Sage. It's an easy closeout once again. And even with that go button, Tim, they still couldn't get the timing right.
Hyper's just gone wild there inside a bunker. He's just barely moved his feet. He's found them at the bottom of stairs. He's found them on the entrance. Unstoppable. Great round from him. Nice 3K. I'm just going to see it here again on the replays. One inside of electrical, one bottom stairs, one on the... Oh, he just flicks 90 degrees left, right. It doesn't matter to him. It's all the same. Chewing them up and spitting them out. Going to head into round 5 then. All level at the minute. I've just got a feeling, Des, that a 3-3 half maybe benefits NAVI here, though, once they get onto the defence.
They will not be complaining if they take away 3 rounds on the attack, absolutely. I mean, they've won the 2, what someone described as one of the hardest sites in the game to attack. In fact, it's exactly how Amerta described it the other day when I asked him, what is it with you boys in attacking? This is Eminem coach, by the way. Asked him, what is it with you boys in attacking base?
I mean, top coaches, it's
no big deal. Yeah,
not a big thing.
Not a thing at all, no. It's more like he was saying, it's just a really hard site to attack for generally everyone in the game. And I believe the attacker win rate at the time was about 38%. Eminem's was sub 20%, so it was still going pretty badly for them overall. But you've just seen NAVI win 2 attacks on it in a row. I touched on it at the start of the game as well. Eminem won 2 in a row against Oxygen, channeling a little bit of that UK massive energy to get 2 wins on it so far. The thing is, they've got to be able to turn it into wins on other sites as well. Top floor and an off-site likely going to be meeting in Kitchen, where NAVI have got to stand up against here and find some round wins.
Right, last time around it was a NAVI win. This time, as you said, as DarkZero need to stand up and they need to find something. Now is the moment. If you want to get yourself back into this, this is one of the 2 rounds that you really need to win. There's going to be immediate attention over towards Big Tower from NAVI. They are looking to get themselves inside of Attic, no doubt. They've got secretly on the Hibana over there. We've got Thatcher on this side of things, just taking out the laser gate for the time being to look towards aggressing onto Hyper inside of Trophy. It's going to be Pamba to open things up, though. Very nice kill there from the top of White Stairs. I'm not sure if there was a little attempt up White Stairs or just in through the door. It's a beautiful angle, yeah. In through the rotation on Master Door, manages to get saves with the Thatcher. That's big from Pamba.
Yes, something to think about for sure. They've already burnt through 2 of their EMPs as well. Obviously now none left, given Says is off the ball, but they were just used to temporarily try and burn through any ADSs. Unfortunately, was not successful as an ADS did still catch an aid as it came singing on through that was destined towards Trophy and didn't manage to find anything on towards Hyper. It's looking okay for DarkZero to kick things off. Yes, we're only 75 seconds in, but Tim, they've learned a little bit. They've found the entry, they've backed away, they're not looking for more trouble yet.
Not as of yet. Blur's going to get himself positioned on the double window, see if he can find somebody in behind the bunks. He's knows that Pamba's there, but he's not going to put any shots onto him, and Pamba just retires away back to the top of White Stairs, holding that nasty little angle that he had previously when he found his opener. Doki looking to get himself in and support this Trophy push now. Going to just send the drone in ahead of him. They're just lacking in information a little bit, I think, here, NAVI. Not really sure exactly where everybody is holding, but the big problem could be Eclipse on the downstairs. He's still holding onto that double window. You've got Blur playing on there. If he tries to move in, he's unlikely to have too much success.
Absolutely. While the breach being opened up means they've got their angle in. They've got the smokes on the back of the thermite, but Pamba finds a second, finally gets traded out by Nath, who was playing upon the breach. NJR, another one back, a 2 versus 4. NAVI have pulled off some 2v2s, Tim. They've pulled off a 1 versus 3. Not too sure a 2 versus 4 is within reach.
Nath just aware of Hyper on the flank here. Blur goes to clear out Eclipse, not going to do it. Hyper wins his 1, and that's going to be DarkZero taking round number 5, and that is much better from the North Americans. Solid hold of that top floor. Struggled last time around, but they get it done. 3-2, they have their advantage. They really need this last defensive round.
They do, and like I mentioned for NAVI, they need to really be winning that top floor and the off-site. Top floor, maybe you can forgive not a win there, because most defensive teams on this site will win the basement, they'll win the top floor, and then they'll lose the off-site, either meeting and kitchen, or kitchen and dining. So, meeting and kitchen it is. A repeat of what we saw back in round 3. Doki was the opening death there. There were plant attempts going down in that round. So we'll see if we can get anything coming back on the other side. So with NAVI winning it the prior time around, hopefully they get it here too.
Attackers need to locate
DarkZero bringing along the alibi for Hyper again. He was obviously playing that in the last round and it did him well. Got the Valkyrie for the information. Nothing too sort of stand out away from that. Going to open the hatch. She gives them the opportunity to potentially play underneath a little bit as well. Maybe get somebody down there with a nitro. You can deny the plant on rear stage if NAVI choose to push directly in there. But last time around, the push completely came across the top floor from NAVI and they were able to be quite dominant in that, taking a lot of control, forcing DarkZero back down to site, and ultimately it was down to Hyper and NJR to try and hold on to things inside the kitchen, and they were just sort of taken apart in the 3v2.
Should apologise, by the way. Realised I got that completely wrong when I was talking about the 2 downstairs sites. Should have corrected me, Tim. Should have me covered. I said they won both the downstairs site. They didn't, because round 1 was where they were far too slow. Duh. Desi Big Dum Dum. Forgive me, ladies and gents. So, standing corrected, it was this site they won last time. And it started the exact same way where Doki was the opening death. Navi still went on to win the round, so keep your eyes peeled. This could still very quickly go back the way of Navi. What I'm looking towards here is this setup we saw before, where Hyper currently was challenging inside of security then. They had a lot of smokes being tossed down in towards security corridor. So I think as the round bleeds on a bit further, NJR will step and play inside a kitchen and be looking to yeet those smokes down south and try and keep Navi at bay, meaning they can only really come from 2 angles, up green corridor or out towards dining. The kind of third option which Navi employed last round was going instead through split straight into sight and looking to get a plant down. It was a big 2K from Blur in the close. So although they closed off 1 angle, there's still 3 others they've got to worry about.
Eclipse knows that there's one out on the master balcony here, playing in behind his shield inside a trophy. Pretty similar to the Dorm setup that you will normally see, but this time he's just trying to keep that vertical superiority. He's trying to keep Amber and Hyper safe as well. Hyper playing the same angle as he did last time inside of Attic. Saves. How long's he waited for that? About 1:20's gone off the clock, and about 1:10 of that, I think, Saves has been sat on that rappel waiting for that rotation. Picks up Eclipse and levels things out.
Patience is a virtue, Tim. Patience is a virtue. You'll see some players that will sit and hold the same angle for 2 minutes in a round. It can be excruciatingly painful, especially when you're impatient and want to see things happen, but it's all for the good of the team, and that's a great fight back. Like I said, don't count Navi out yet. They were already in a 4 versus 5 last time around and still managed to swing things back. Nades coming in towards NJR, who they want to get out of this spot as Pamba finds Blur. Another shutdown of 4 versus 3.
The challenge continues down there from dining into kitchen, but I'm not sure how much success Navi are going to find with that one. They continue to try and work the top floor. Pamba decides that enough is enough. He's going to drop himself back to site once that breach has been opened up, and Navi can start sweeping forward a little bit. Hyper is inside of the big tower now. In comes the drone. He's going to have to move himself quickly as that window gets open. Saves looking to find himself another off the rappel, but Hyper, smart move, smart feet, gets himself down the stairs behind the box to safety, and he's just going to hold on to this for as long as he can. NJR, though, is going to take a ton of damage. Secretly pings himself out, opens himself up to a challenge from Pamba. It will not be quite successful, while Nath manages to finish off the wounded NJR.
Such a smart read from Secretly there. He gets swung from Canadian on freezer stairs and Pamba inside of security, backs himself into white and keeps himself alive. Thing is, it's him in a 2 versus 2. It's Secretly, it's Nath. We've been here before, Tim. If Nath goes for this drop, they can make it work because they're both out towards the south. The thing is, there's a vertical retake coming in here. If Canadian gets a big flank on, Secretly can get shut down from the hatch. Nath is holding in towards security, but here comes the big bad Canadian for the shutdown. Defenders will win the round as they had no cover on that flank.
Really smart play from Canadian there. Just heads up thinking, get myself upstairs. He knew that it was empty at that point. I think they were confident that they were in the 2v2, and he just recognised that straight up there and gets it shut down. Well played from Canadian. He just knew that both of them had likely dropped the hatch because they needed to hold on to that security rotate, and it was just that mistake from Navi that cost them. They're going to move on to the defence now, and they're going to have to match or better what DarkZero has done if they want to keep this one alive. It's 4-2 that they find themselves down, but they move on to the defence. I'm sure Navi going to be a little bit more confident, but tell you what, with the way that people like Hyper are playing, I wouldn't be too convinced at the minute. Hyper is doing some work for DarkZero.
Yeah, you look how these rounds have gone. Navi haven't quite had the same pace as what we saw on Bank, which many would look at and go, well, that's weird, because Bank is a much larger map. Again, it's got this big attacker lean at the minute because it is generally easier to execute into sites, excluding the downstairs, although even Navi managed to make that look like a bit of a catwalk. 4-2, as you saw coming through. So, on the other side of things for Navi, you said it yourself, Tim, they've got to match or better. Really, that means to me, starting with a big performance here down in the basement. We saw the kind of crumble once on DarkZero's side. They lost it back in round number 4. Things going against them. We've got a quick rehost coming good as well. Keep us covered. Pancakes, big favourite.
I've not had any of the pancakes yet.
They are really good.
I've seen a few people wolfing them down.
To be fair, I think it was Skies who came at me on Twitter when I called them pancakes and said, no, they're crepes. You don't know a pancake until you see an American pancake.
Yeah, the American pancakes are much
ones,
thicker. Yeah, they're much thicker.
See, I like them our style. I like them our
They're a very
kind of
different thing, but obviously in the UK we have Pancake Day in February.
It's the best day of the year.
And ours are more like crepes. Yeah, ours are very thin.
What do you have on your pancakes, Tim?
I don't generally eat pancakes.
Oh, right.
I'm not a big fan of them, but when I do, basically when I get enough aggro off my family at home for being miserable and not liking pancakes, I have them with Nutella. What I tend to do is make a nice pancake, put the chocolate spread on there, and then roll it up, and that's me.
I'm still stuck at the part where you said you don't like pancakes, to be honest with you. Just when you think you know a guy, he tells you he doesn't like pancakes.
The toppings and spreads are available.
That's a big problem to me, Tim, in the same way that NAVI arguably are facing a big problem. They are down 4-2. DarkZero on their attack, on their defensive half, coming out strong. We said coming into this map after the slapping they got on Bank 7-2, not winning a single defensive round, we needed a big Oregon performance, and I feel we've had it so far. 4-2, definitely not a bad split. The issue is now you're facing NAVI on their map pick, on their defensive half. They're going to give you a bit of a run for your money here, I think, and they'll keep them busy for sure out on the roam. And Doki, looking at this already, is looking to challenge out onto the front door. Keep on speaking about this DMR on the Rooney. I think it's like 63 damage a shot or something, 2 body shots. You can do the maths. Pretty much everyone is going to die.
I've been using it to do the challenge. Anybody who's been playing the Stadium event, if you haven't, make sure you have a look. It's absolutely fantastic. You get to play both the 2020 version of the Stadium map and the 2021 version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's nice to be able to go back and you get to play both of them again.
I've just been a ranked sweat lord. I've just been in ranked.
I know you do. But there's obviously challenges in place as well at the minute, and one of them is kills with marksman rifle that count towards your battle pass points. So yeah, I've been using the Aruni marksman rifle to clear a few of them off. Twitch as well on the attack.
Oh, big fan.
Yeah. So I'm not that great with them, but we managed to find the odd kill here and there. Talking about finding the odd kill here and there, Nath, he's going to dip up to the top of Freezer stairs, see if he can find one out into the corridor. Nothing doing at the minute, and I'm going to say the same for NAVI that I said for DarkZero here on Bank. This is an important round. They need to be winning this first defense. If DarkZero get this one here, you feel like they are answering back and they're likely to take this map. It was on Bank. DarkZero could not lock down round 7 and NAVI started to run away with it. So NAVI, by contrast, you gotta lock this one out if you want to be going for the win. DarkZero now have got themselves the mid-floor control. They can make sure that they've got the hatches, they can start with access to site, and they're only at the halfway mark. Plenty of time for them to work with.
I was going to say it's been a long time droning for Eclipse though, you know, 90 seconds into the round and he hadn't used a single X-Kairos batch. Like, he's now getting the 2 hatches open that need to be opened up because the meeting one had already been sorted out. I think it was opened up by NAVI themselves to use as a fallback point. Just acknowledging it will be taken. We may as well just get this one open. Now those 2 hatches are opened up, Nath is forced back from playing inside of Freezer, and you're seeing the same snowball effect. And not in terms of a snowball rolling down a hill, more DarkZero just like grabbing a big mass of snow called NAVI and just mashing it as small as they can, trying to condense NAVI back in towards supply so they're all lined up in this kind of small horizontal stretch of the map.
Out goes the EMP just to clear off the Aruni laser gate. The drones are raining in now. Canadian, however, is going to find himself down, and NAVI is standing up pretty well so far to the DarkZero onslaught as we come into the last 30 seconds. DarkZero just struggling to take those steps and move forward, and that laser gate is just going to get reactivated as well. That could be a big play for NAVI with 25 seconds left to go. Doki needs to be careful about over-aggressing. NJR finds Nath, level things up 4-4, and now it has to happen for DarkZero. They got to go aggressive and push forward. That's a big second from NJR. Gives him control with the freezer, and he can do some serious work from there. It's all down to Secretly and Doki is low health, but we see a man downed, but the Finker boost immediately picks him up. NJR getting himself another, getting that down. But the shots come through, and NAVI just managed to hold on as he doesn't stick the plant.
That's a real kicker. I think he gets shot there through the soft wall when they've all scrambled down towards Laundry, not knowing where Doki, the last defender, was, and gets a big kill through the wall to end the round. NAVI taking it by mere margins there, but a win is a win. And rather than going straight up to the second floor like we saw DarkZero do, they're going to try an offsite first, meeting and kitchen, where we head to in round number 8.
Interesting to go to meeting and kitchen to begin with. Maybe just try and throw DarkZero off a little bit. Maybe the thing is, I think with mentally, if you get this one, I feel like it gives Navi a little bit of an advantage because they've still got that top floor that they're going to be reasonably comfortable on, and they're then in a position of winning that to go 5-4 and get themselves ahead with Laundry ahead of them as well. After that, you're almost, you're not guaranteeing yourself, but win this and you're putting 1 foot into that match point situation. You're getting yourself what should be 2 pretty difficult sites for DarkZero to win to put yourself on that 6th point. So it could be a smart play from Navi here.
Could be. Love the mind games that you get, especially on maps where all 4 sites are viable, looking towards things like Club, looking at Coastline, looking at Villa. To be fair, it's a pretty good spread, and same thing can be said for Chalet, where you can play all sites that are viable on a map. You know, over half the map pool does have all 4 sites able to be played, same as on Oregon. Way back throwaway from what we used to see when it used to be only the 3 sites, the 2 primaries, and then the tertiary site. I like that we're getting that kind of optionality to use all 4, Tim.
Going to have a lot of top floor presence from Navi, as we would expect. Blur is up there. I think Saves is joining him inside of the attic as well. So those 2 as a minimum going to need clearing out. But we've also got Secretly with Nitro in hand. We've got Doki with Nitro in hand. So there are plenty of options here for Navi to fight towards that top floor, even once they have been cleared out, should DarkZero be successful in doing so. 45 seconds in, DarkZero not messing about here, getting themselves inside a trophy. Challenging on to Saves to begin with, and Saves, he's very focused out towards this backside. He's not going to catch anybody yet because they're out on the rappel. They're not inside of the building, although the silhouettes look, it can be difficult to gauge, get the depth sometimes, but that's what I'm here for you.
We've had it a few times with like walls.
You say, oh shit!
Like, is he in front of the wall? Is he behind the wall? Because they've obviously tucked him right against it, and it often turns out that on the other side, why would they expose themselves after all? Doki able to give a bit of support as well with the cams on the backside. He's just sat here flicking through those, as any good Valkyrie player should do. And with that information in hand, they can just sit here and wait. DZ the ones who need to make the first move. They're the ones who need to punch a hole through this Navi setup on the top floor. Blur here on the swing as well. Sees the tiniest little pixel change through that little bit of soft wall. Tries to escape but can't quite do it. Saves in for the trades.
Well played from DarkZero. Great teamwork there. The pinch came in. Blur had absolutely nowhere to go and manages to get his kill. Pamba does lose his life along the way, but that leaves them now in a 4v4, and more importantly, it leaves them with some top floor control. But they're going to have Saves potentially pushing them back. But Pamba's dead, can sit on the drone, so it's unlikely that Saves is going to be successful here in getting himself through attic unspotted. He's going to have to at least bide his time and wait until the very busy late round, but I would expect Pamba's not on the drones at the minute, so it's not actually being watched. There is an opportunity for Saves here if they're not careful.
I think the Pambry was, because I saw him cycling through, although I know what you mean. Obviously it's saying here that it's not. There is definitely someone always watching that drone on the flank. Like, that is the key to their attack working here. If Saves somehow gets round it or manages to deal a blow, there is a big problem.
Not seeing anybody on the drones at the minute, so something to keep an eye on for DarkZero. 25 seconds left. They might not be too worried about it at this stage, as they're in a position to start getting the diffuser down. But I mentioned Nitros at the beginning of the rounders, and Secretly finds the mark with his Hyper. Goes in to make that attempt again. It's now 3v4. Here comes Saves on the upstairs challenge onto NGR, and he looked unaware to me, and that can't be allowed. He does manage, however, to find the kill. Second Nitro from Doki this time. Gets Hyper, but too late. The diffuser is already down. It's now down to NJR and Canadian to close this down. Beautiful from Canadian on the main door there. NJR's up above. Secretly, he's going to try and stick this, but it's going to be all too easy for NJR, who now drops down into sight as Doki gives chase. Surely this is over, and it is, as DarkZero close it out, and it's 5-3.
Beautiful stuff. Good fight back there from DarkZero as well, when it felt like for a while they might be stalling things out a little bit. Even in the post plant, Canadian being outside front door, I just thought he's not in a position to have an impact here. But somehow they get away with the plan, even with the Yokais on side, as well as the Valkyrie. We were touching quite a lot on that potential flank coming in from Saves, and it did almost bite them, Tim. Questions to be asked there.
I don't know what was going on. Like I said, you know, we could see there were a couple of the players on drones, but Pamba was just watching Hyper. And then as they came off the drones, Pamba didn't go on to them, so there was nobody watching that flank at a point. If you're going to put the drone there, why not watch it? You know, you need to be keeping an eye on it, because Saves very near. Honestly, if Saves gets that kill onto NJR, that round is different. because Save's got the hatch power then, and he's going to shut down any plant attempt. NJR came in and used it to be able to stop the disable from secretly. Such a power position, and they almost lost it.
Absolutely. Well, enough for them to feel they need to have a timeout here. Spotted a couple of issues in that round that was biting them. I doubt it was with that strat specifically, but maybe more around communication and little things they need to clean up across the last couple of rounds. Because although they did win that round 7, it was definitely not close. It was, well, sorry, it was very close. It came down to Doki in a 1 versus 3, getting a kill through a soft wall. So the last 2 rounds have not been pretty. DarkZero could have been up 6-2 at this point, Tim.
They really could. There's been opportunities there for them, and I think it sort of plays into what we saw on Bank. Obviously, NAVI were the better team there, and they came away with a good win. And I feel like on the day, they probably are playing slightly better Siege in terms of winning the gunfights and stuff. DarkZero have really warmed up over the last couple of rounds. We're starting to see much better from them. But it doesn't surprise me that where maybe NAVI took the opportunity to get themselves to 6-2, DarkZero haven't maybe quite managed to capitalise in the same way. But they're looking good for it at the minute. They're going to be attacking now onto dorms. Essential round for NAVI here, because if DarkZero can take this as well, then NAVI are going to feel pretty much beaten. It's going to be 6-3, it's going to be map point, and they're going to have lost 2 rounds back to back.
This is a bit of a spicy 6-bit coming in for NAVI as well, away from the Valkyrie, which is the most banned operator that we have. Like, really, that should be staying on side, but they've swapped it away for a Frost. Now, whether or not that's kind of relying on being able to catch DZ off guard, I imagine there's a fair chance they get droned out at some point. I don't know. It feels risky, I guess, with the mute. You can block away the ability for drones to get visibility on it. If they get it down, it's all worth it, but it's always that big if that worries me, Tim.
Always the big if, as you say. Right, going to get into the action phase then. We've got 3 defenders on site. Doki heading his way down main stairs, just looking towards classroom, and then there's one out over towards rear stage as well, I believe, and that is going to be the NAVI contingent and their setup. DarkZero looking like they're going to be pushing in from the west side. They've mostly spawned over there. Probably try and get themselves pushed in through dining kitchen, make sure that they're cleared out underneath. Doki, he's really waiting for something here, does.
I mean, like I say, patience is a virtue in a game of Siege at this level. Bit of an update for you, by the way, on the other stream. Rogue are currently up 6-3 on map 2, so that one could be going through to 3 maps at the same sort of pace that this one is.
Might save my predictions.
Might do, might just do. You predicted Rogue, didn't you?
I did predict.
And I predicted DZ in this game. Okay.
I was wrong on NIP earlier.
I was right in MIBR.
Yeah. I need to catch up today. I had a good day yesterday.
You're a point ahead of me still.
I was 7 out of 8 yesterday. I had a good day yesterday.
I was 5, I think.
Just to keep myself on that top row, but then today's proving a little bit trickier.
Yeah, it is. It's that kind of time where teams start getting knocked out and they really pull out everything in the tank to make it happen. Here, at least, on this top floor, you've got Nath roaming around inside of the basement. No one to track him down, no Jackal, for example. And in a bit of a reverse situation, Doki's not going to be the opening death. He's been caught out a lot in the early round on this map, but he's the one to find the entry, and it removes the Iana away from DarkZero.
Big opening kill, exactly what NAVI needed here if they want to try and hold on to this and get themselves back within touching distance. Hyper knows that there's someone down in the basement, but he can't stand here and watch this angle all day. Nath is miles away. NJR going to find a nice nade onto Blur. We've not seen too many explosive kills, but certainly putting them to work here. Unsuccessful that time around, as the defender had just moved away from the location. Nath, he's going to get a freebie here. There's not looking at him at all. NJR, I think, completely unaware. Nath actually just backs away. Oh, Nath, I think you've got an opportunity there to get in and find that kill, but no. Hyper, he manages to continue the onslaught from underneath, and DarkZero really stretching the legs now.
That was up onto concrete as well, so he must have like wrapped it up through the floor and managed to get it straight up on top of the player playing there. They thought they were safe? Evidently not. Eclipse going in for a plant as Pamba finds Doki, finally getting revenge for Captain Nadian, who fell down earlier on. Saves on the swing, but his full white flash, he can't do anything about it. DarkZero get the round and move to match point. Tim, I'm starting to feel like that third map of Cafe is just around the corner.
It's almost certain at this point. NAVI really getting the answer back that DarkZero needed to give after that opener on Bank. It's looking perilous for them right now as they find themselves on 6-3. They have to win every single round from here if they want to get themselves into overtime. They're going to head down to Laundry, a site that they did win last time, Des, but if you remember, it was won on time. The diffuser was going down and it was extremely close. So, NAVI, you're going to have to show us more because DarkZero, they are in the ascendancy.
That was more of a misstep by DarkZero as well, and I understand why. They were running out of time. You know, you're on Laundry door. What are you going to do? Run down towards Laundry, or are you going to try and plant inside a supply? Went for the plant inside a supply, not being 100% on knowing that Doki was hanging around Pillar. So I don't think you can rely on that big clutch factor this time round. NAVI needs to be a little more proactive maybe in finding themselves something in the round. Although, that said, whenever they've been out in the entry, they have been picked up. And I just want to raise, by the way, Tim, since our rehost, NJR is 9-0. 9-0. What is that? And that's the second rehost we had as well. He had more kills between the two and kills prior to it.
Certainly a worthwhile stat to be pointing out, as you said, as NJR. He's been quietly going about his business as well. It's not like we've had an ace from him that accounts for over half of it. You know, we
did have the quad in round 7.
Yes, there was a 4 in round 7. Apart from that, he's just been quietly going about his business. Nade kill here, nice little sight kill there, and doing a great job for DZ. They're looking much, much better now. They are certainly carrying some momentum here. I think NAVI have struggled with this throughout the tournament, Des. We saw it against SSG as well, whereby they get themselves ahead, they get themselves rolling, and then they just struggle to keep that pressure on.
Okie dokie. Let's see how this one starts setting up then. Looking in towards NAVI, at least they've got themselves Doki up on the ground floor inside a lobby. Previously, they've seen Canadian come challenging through that door, so maybe he's expecting to greet him on his initial point, or at least entry into the map. This is only ground floor, mind you. You've also got Nath hanging around Zulu, Blur inside a kitchen, so quite a heavy ground floor presence coming out of NAVI, looking to burn through some time here.
Secretly, he knows there's a man pushing in front of him. He made the challenge onto the door, but it's 9-0. NJR is going to be looking to see if he can extend that. I'll remind you, it is after the rehost that we had that it's 9-0. There'll be some deaths there somewhere, but he's looking for number 10 since that point. Not going to find it. Secretly takes a little bit of damage, but manages to hold on for the time being. Doesn't really want to be losing his life up there, though, Des. You know, this is not looking good for NAVI as Hyper manages to find himself a big double with the second onto White Stairs, and NAVI really throwing a lot of bodies at that top floor to say that they're defending down in the basement.
Risk versus reward, Tim. If you really want to commit to a hold like that, you've got to make it worthwhile, either through burning resources, time, or better yet, enemy players. Instead, all they lose inside 75 seconds is 2 players of their own. They have chewed through a number of drones. There are only 3 left for DarkZero, but they've got a lot of work to do on site. They've got a C4 on Blur. They've got the 3 smokes in the back pocket of saves. They have got some tools here, but it's not a lot against the onslaught of nades that are going to start flying in from DarkZero.
Doki's got himself stuck here in Garage. There's only one way out, and that is guns blazing. Eclipse is holding onto it. He just needs to stick on that angle, essentially. DarkZero working around for a pinch, opening up every angle. It's going to be a matter of time. There you go. Eclipse steps in and gets him. Saves manages to pick up the trade, at least, by working smartly from the top of Laundry Stairs with that shotgun, but it's just not going to matter. Blur manages to get Pamba, and all of a sudden 2v3 from what was looking like a big start for DarkZero at 5 versus 3.
Yeah, they've really swung it back, but here they come with the E-Box. Drop one straight onto a smoke and gets headshot off by Blur inside a freezer. Canadian coming in at least with an EMP there, trying to find out what he can, disable some of those gadgets away, but saves a big flank coming up here towards Blue. Will he find him out? Yes, he will. NJR left all alone. 9 kills to his name, has not died in a good few rounds, but here he's got to do it all. He's got to bring down 2 entirely by himself, potentially even look to get the planter down as well. Saves on the swing, gets the close out, the 2K at the end coming in. It's another big 2v2 being won out by NAVI. Tim, it's a theme across this series.
It was very, very well played there. I mean, 3v5, they lost 2 players on the top floor within the first minute and a half, and you just thought at that point, wow, this is NAVI done here. DarkZero have got to be able to push on. 5v3 on a Laundry basement attack. Surely they can get that done, but NAVI just playing it super smart. They took a couple of risks to begin with to hit them on the flanks and just thin the numbers, bring it back into their favour a little bit, and then retired to site. Perfect moment, held across with each other, and just it was just really well played from the two of them. Absolutely perfect. NAVI get themselves back to 4-6 then. DarkZero will have another opportunity to close this one out. I'm just a little bit worried for DarkZero on the quiet days. Obviously, we've seen their form up and down, and I just wonder, you know, they're on 6. Are they going to be able to close this out?
It's one of those, right? I mean, we keep on talking about him, but it's worth mentioning again. NJR has done a lot of work in those round wins. He's been picking up several kills since that rehost came in and dragging rounds over the finish line where they look to be a little bit stuck. On the other side for NAVI, Saves is 4-3. That's the only positive player they've got at the moment. Since that rehost came in, it's been a slow few rounds for them. But for DarkZero, you can't keep on counting on NJR to do it all for you here, surely. So for NAVI, they're probably fancying this win up here. It'll then be the off-site where things get a little bit ropey. So to start with, up on the second floor we go. Let's see how their hold shapes up.
Need to do better than last time around. It is quite as simple as that. Dorm's back in round 9. DarkZero were able to win. It started with Dorky opening things up with a kill onto Canadian. It was after their tactical timeout. They'd had a word. They came back in. Dorky gets the opener. And still, DarkZero were able to close the round out. So NAVI, you can't be allowing them that sort of foothold. You can't be allowing them to get themselves into rounds like that when you've got that advantage to begin with. They're going to be looking for it again. 30 seconds off the clock. There's nobody playing underneath. It's not really something that NAVI do, is playing with that player insecurity to try and hold down the double window.
They've got nade down in basement, but my concern here is more about what happened last time on this site. It was the 2 vertical nade kills coming in for DarkZero. Absolute freebies, because as you say, NAVI don't challenge inside the kitchen. They do on the basement, but they normally pull their way back as they move further through the map and look to draw back in, get the drop down to site, so on and so forth, waste a little bit of time. And earlier on, they did back in, I think it was one of the first rounds, they did have a hold in there with Blur holding on one side and Doki down to the other. They are prepared normally to challenge, it just doesn't feel that way on this site, so it will give free entry to DarkZero here to start yeeting nades skyward and find out the members of NAVI. And the beautiful thing about nading in towards this site, there's only really a couple of spots where a defender is going to play, so even without droning, you might be able to get an absolute freebie coming in.
Very potentially. Saves just looking for that drone. He's chasing it round here. He really wants rid of that information. DarkZero down now to 6 drones at this point in time, so NAVI not doing a terrible job, but here come the nades from underneath. NJR gets himself underneath there. We've already seen them have success with this, and NAVI have been unable to challenge onto it really or do anything about this. They've been unable to prevent DarkZero just playing at will with nades. Dorky should be safe there. Just manages to step himself. He's going to actually climb up on top of the games table. He really wants to try and keep himself secure.
Saves keeps on moving corners every 2 or 3 seconds here. Very rarely staying in one place. Out of fear, the nades might find NJR. Oh no! NJR finding him first. That was through the hatch as well. NJR just ready. Nath almost losing his life and finally going to die out to white there. A good close in by Hyper. A 5 versus 3 for DarkZero once again, Tim, but we saw how this went last time around.
We did. NAVI were able to hold on to it, but you just feel like they've really got their work cut out this time. Secretly's holding on to double window. Doki's got white stairs and DarkZero have got time. 30 seconds to start making this final approach, and that's going to make Doki's life difficult. It took his eye off the ball when they push white stairs. They go in mob-handed and manage to find him secretly. Gets eclipsed, but it's 2v4, 2v3, surely not 1v3 as Pamba, he's now looking for that final kill. It's all up to Blur and the diffuser's going back down. He's outside of sight. He's got to fight his way back in here, and surely they know where he's coming from. He thinks there might be one on the rappel, but there isn't at the moment. As soon as he peeks this corner, he's likely to get picked up by Hyper, and it is the man himself who finishes off the round, the map, and that is going to be NAVI finding themselves at 1-all after a good bank. They fall on Oregon to DarkZero.
Which means all 3 maps, that NA versus EU showdown, Tim, comes to that 3rd and final map to see who gets sent home. And